Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Kim and today I am going to just start off by apologising for the lighting. It is very dark, cold, wet and windy here today, and it has cast a real shadow in my sewing room, so I put some additional lighting up, so hopefully it won't cause too many issues with you being able to see what I'm going to show you in this video. So to start with, I'm going to go through what I made this week, and I have made a second one of Simplicity 9231. Now I have made this before, and I made it a couple of videos back in the black floral polyester, and I was pleasantly surprised at how much I did like it. It's a very simple pattern and it was made up really quite quickly. It is very simple. It's got some pleats on the neck and a little tunnel neck here. You can see the little tiny little tunnel neck which just hugs the neck very slightly down into the shoulder. And when I made the original one, it was too long in the shoulder for me, and it was also too tight on the bicep, so I have made some adjustments. So the shoulder adjustment, instead of going down a size, I made a proper shoulder adjustment, and I took a little video of it and I'll put that in. And I also did a bicep adjustment as well, and I took a little video of that as well, so I will also include. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to increase the bicep, and the way you do this is you basically cut into a square. So you will cut from the top of this line here just before this dot, and you will cut all the way down, and then you'll cut from your bicep line all the way across. Okay. And I am just going to only cut to the hemline, so I'm just going to do that there. Right, so once that's done, I'm going to work my way across from one bicep line to the other. And it's literally from the seam allowance point. Okay. So what you've done now is you've opened up, so you've got this big opening here at where the cross is positioned, and I'm just going to get a pair of my paper scissors and I'm just going to create some hinges. I'm just going to cut literally to each point but not all the way, so that I'm creating hinges in effect. So you do that at the 4 points. Okay, right, so I am going to attempt to increase this bicep by 2 inches, which is quite a lot. So I'm just going to see how it looks. I'm just going to put my bit of paper underneath. So this bit of paper, so I've drawn a line down the middle and I've drawn 1 inch from each side of that line, and I'm just going to put this under my sleeve pattern. And I'm just going to effectively just line it up to that middle line, and then I'm going to get a bit of tape ready. So I'm just going to hold the bicep line here. Okay, and then I'm just going to pull it from this side out to that first inch line there, and I'm just going to take that down. Okay, and you just do the same for the other side. So you just literally pull it out to that line. Okay, so once you've done that, you then flatten everything else down. So using this top bit here where you have your hinge, just literally it's aligned to that middle line, and then you just pull that out to get it flat. Okay. Right, so once you've got it reasonably flat, get your sellotape and stick that down. And you do the same for the other side. Now obviously when you're doing this it will probably be better because I'm trying to do it under a camera, so it's not easy. So when you come to the bottom bit, just literally flatten it out, and it will pivot slightly at the bottom, and just stick that down. Now you will notice that your hemline has got more of a curve to it, and then what you need to do with that is you just need to straighten that up. So just get your pen and literally from one side of your seam allowance to the other, just draw a new hemline, and there you have your new hemline. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to spend a bit of time away from the camera and just flatten that a bit better. But that is the principle of extending your bicep, so we have a little bit more ease. So when I make up this second pattern of S9231, hopefully we will see a difference in the arm, and that it fits better and it falls better from the shoulder right down to the wrist. And I'm going to stand up so you can see it better. So it's a very simple pattern. It's very nice to wear. Probably not the best time of the year to wear something like this, because this is cotton lawn, so it is quite thin. It fits really well on the shoulder now. It comes right to where it should do on the shoulder, and it's got, you know, room in the sleeve. You can see there's quite a bit of room in the sleeve, and there's no tightness there, so it fits really nice. I was originally going to also extend the sleeves, but I thought that with the original pattern riding up because of the tightness of the bicep, I thought maybe I had lost some of my length in my sleeve because it was riding up. So I thought I'll just leave the sleeve as it is, and it has worked out quite well. But I think next time around, when I do make this for my usual third time, I will probably add ½ an inch, not much. So here's the sleeve. So it's nice and elasticated, and I have used inch wide elastic. Now when I elasticate my sleeves, I like to stretch the elastic to the width of the sleeve, and then I will sew the elastic straight onto the fabric. I don't like to put my elastic in a casing, because I don't like that feeling of the elastic loose in a casing. So I like to attach it directly onto a fabric, and I think you get a more even gathering of the sleeve. And I like to use an inch width of elastic, because I also think that gives a nice effect. But it's just, sleeves are just in the right place. If I can show you, it's just in the right place there, but I think it would probably feel a bit better if it was just a little bit longer. But even so, I'm really pleased with it. So that's my second attempt, and I made this in the beautiful cotton lawn that I got from Stitch Fabrics a few weeks ago. And I'm quite excited about this top, because I know this will go really well with the orange sweatshirt that I'm planning to make, and I'm still waiting for the fabric to turn up. So I think this will pair up quite nicely with the orange sweatshirt that I've got planned. I am just so pleased to show you my crown cushion now completed, and I hope the lighting does it justice. So here she is. Isn't she glorious? I mean, I am so pleased. I managed to back the front of the tapestry with some interfacing, and I'll show you an image of that, and the barley twist trim that I got from Manova works really well around the edge. I'm really pleased with that. And this beautiful velvet fabric that I have used for the backing, and I had that in my stash, but I had originally also bought that from Minerva. And usually when I do a cushion, I like to put my zip in the edge or the bottom of the cushion to hide it. But because the tapestry canvas is quite thick and there's not a lot of movement in it, and also with the trim as well, I did feel that probably if I tried to also put a zip into the bottom, I would have problems. So I literally just put the zip slightly up from the bottom, and you can't really see it once it's in place. So that now is taking pride of place on my cushion chair that nobody dare sits on because of all of Mum's cushions, and I've positioned it so that I can actually see it from where I sit, so I'm admiring it each evening. And yeah, I'm really pleased with that. I mean, I can't believe how long this has been in my whip box, probably for over 20 years, and it is now finally finished, and I'm so glad I finished it because I know I've been talking about it for a while. So that's done, and another project finished for 2023, so I'm chuffed. I had planned to start making my husband's shirt, but that man just keeps on coming into my sewing room. He's just making it so hard for me to start, because he knows I've already made one. He knows that I've made one for myself, and I thought I was being clever, thinking I could make the shirt up, and once he'd seen the fabric he would forget about it. But he has mentioned it a few times, because he keeps on saying to me, you know, that shirt fabric is really, you know, something that you would make a man's shirt. So I'm thinking, oh God, man, you know, just leave my room for a few hours at least so I can start it. So I thought I would get it started just before Christmas, because he had planned to go up to Norfolk to see his dad, and I thought, great opportunity, he'll be gone for 2 to 3 days and I can literally start that shirt and get it finished in one go. But then he told me the other day that he wasn't going to go and see his dad before Christmas, that he was actually going to see him in between Christmas and New Year. So I thought, well, that causes me a bit of a problem, because now I need to do it whilst he's in the house. So I am going to start that next week, and I'm going to try and do it alongside something else, so that if he does come into my room, I can literally throw the other thing that I'll be working on over his project. Or I'll see whether we can get it made without him sussing out what I'm doing. So that'll be an interesting journey. So last of all, I usually finish up with purchases. So I haven't made many purchases this week because I have been experimenting a bit with sweatshirt fabric. And as you know, I've been waiting for my sweatshirt fabric to come from myfabrics.co.uk, and they're based in Germany, and they have a 14-day delivery on any purchase fabric, so we're not anywhere near receiving that just yet. So I'm waiting for those to come through. But when I ordered the little orange swatch of sweatshirt fabric that I showed you in one of the previous videos, I had also ordered some other sweatshirt fabric from another company, because I was also thinking, as you remember, I was going to make some sweatshirts up for my son. So I thought I would order some swatches and just get an idea of how the fabric felt. And I will still make my son some sweatshirts, but there's obviously not so much of a time constraint, because he doesn't want them for Christmas. So I have a little bit of there's not so much of an urgency there. So because I'm quite interested in learning more about fabrics, because even though I've been sewing for over 40 years, it's only really since the pandemic that all of the fabric shops where I live are no longer. They've all shut shop and they've gone. And I live in the south of England, and I would then, the nearest to me is London, so I would have to go into London to do my fabric shopping. And even though it's not that far, it's an hour on the train, it's not that far, it is the issue of finding these shops and getting my fabric home. So we buy a lot of our fabric online, and that's what I now do. I buy a tremendous amount, well, all of my fabric online now. I very rarely go to a store because there just aren't any around where I am, and I'm very envious of those people who live in the north of England, because they have so much choice where they are. So I buy all of my fabrics online. So what I have started to do is I have started to order swatches of some of the fabric. And when I ordered a swatch of the orange sweatshirt fabric, I think it got me intrigued because I hadn't made a sweatshirt before, and it was a new type of fabric that I was going to use for the sweatshirt, originally for my son but now for me. So I thought I need to just find out a little bit more about how some of the sweatshirt fabric is, because some of it's called brush back, some of it's called yeah, brushed sweatshirt fabric, some of it's rich brushed, some of it's alpine fleece. I don't know what any of these are, and the thing is when they show you the swatches on the websites, they only show you the front of it. So I have purchased a few swatches just to show you what I have discovered, and it's a learning curve for me as well, and I like to get some of these swatches in and fill them. So I have bought 3 swatches from Dalton Mills, and I have bought quite a bit of fabric from them in the past, so I'm just going to go through them just to show you the differences. So when I bought these were just all classed as sweatshirt fabric, and 2 of them were titled up Cotton Rich Brushed Sweatshirt, and these are these 2, so it's the green and the light grey, but their composition is different. So to start with, they are, so the light grey is 280 grams per square metre. Okay, and that's generally round about the sort of weight of fabric that you would buy for a sweatshirt that you were making up. But I feel that it's not so much just the weight, it is also the composition. So the composition of this fabric is 70% cotton and 30% polyester. Because it's got cotton in, it's got a nice firm feel to it, and it's got not got much of stretch. It's got more of a give on the vertical stretch, but on the horizontal stretch, that's where you have all of that movement, and it's got this really nice fluffy brushed effect on the back, and it's lovely. So it's got a really nice feel to it, and you can see it just holds up quite nice. There's no curling of the edges there. Okay. Then this second swatch, this is also called cotton brushed sweatshirt, and its weight is 250 grams per square metre. Now this is lighter in weight than the light grey one that I've just showed you, but the composition is completely different. The composition of this swatch is 92% cotton and 8% elastane. So with this one, you have you still have a sort of give on the vertical stretch, but you can already feel that it is a lot tighter, a lot firmer, and you have your horizontal stretch, and yet again you can really feel that there is some resistance there, and it is not as stretchy. It is still brushed back, so it's still got a really nice back in, but these are both classed as brushed sweatshirt fabric, but it really does tell you that when you're buying fabric, you also need to look at the composition, because I think the higher the natural fibre is in a fabric, the more firmness that you will get. And with stretchy fabric, that firmness, I think, will hold the shape of your garment better. And when you're making things like kangaroo pockets on sweatshirts, I think you need that firmness, because obviously if you've got a hand that keeps on going into a pocket, you don't want the edges of that pocket to start wobbling and getting all wavy with the stretch. So I think you really need to also not just look at the weight but also the composition, and it becomes quite true when you look at this last swatch. So this last swatch is this is called Alpine Fleece. So this is a different type of sweatshirt fabric, and this weight, the weight of that is 280, so it is as heavy as the light grey one. But if you look already at just me just holding, you can see how this one curls over. It has a definite, even though it's a similar weight, it is well, the same weight actually, yeah, sorry, even though it's the same weight, it is definitely a lot stretchy. So there's even, I mean, it's not give, it's physical stretch on the vertical stretch here, and it's also got its stretch on the horizontal, and there's a lot of stretch in this fabric. And the reason why there's a lot to stretch, because this one has got a lower percentage of cotton in it. So this is 65% polyester and 35% cotton. So the natural fibres in this are a lot less. And you can see that because you can see how it just curls over. It's a lot softer. It's still a beautiful sweatshirt fabric, but it would I wouldn't necessarily make a man's sweatshirt in this fabric, because I think for a man's sweatshirt it would definitely need to be firmer, and I would go for something with a higher cotton content. Though the back of that fleece, that Alpine fleece, is, I mean, you just want to stroke it. It feels like an animal. Feels like a cat. Meow. Oh my god, I need a cup of tea. Right. So you can see the difference in all of those swatches. Okay, so that's all I purchased this week. And I think when I make my son's sweatshirt up, I will go for the brushed sweatshirt fabric, and I will look at getting a fabric that is higher in cotton content. So this is 92%. Not all sites sadly provide you with all of the composition of the fabric, but quite a lot of them do, so it is worth having a look. And if they don't, it's also worth maybe purchasing some swatches so that you can get them back and you can feel them, you can feel how they move, you can look at the backs of them, because we don't always get an opportunity to look at the back of some of these fabrics. So it's always good to maybe purchase some of these swatches and just have a feel, see what it feels like, because you might get it back and think it's totally unsuitable for the garment that I want to use it for. And some of these companies allow you to have 2 or 3 swatches free of charge when you put your order in, and some of them, like these swatches, were 95p each. They weren't expensive, but they're so worth, you know, just slowing the process down a bit, getting your swatches in and having a look. Okay, so that's it for today, and I hope you've enjoyed the video, and if you have, please give it a thumbs up, and even better, if you haven't subscribed, it'd be lovely if you could be one of my subscribers. So I wish you all a lovely day, and I hope the weather is nicer where you are than it is here, and I will see you next time. Bye.